I guess the next part of talking about Syncron is to actually discuss about performance. So when we started, we obviously had a number of things to discover. One of them was how many days before bud break do we actually apply Syncron? And we did a number of trials just to work out the sweet spot with that. Once we'd got through that, we had a very good idea between 33 and 36 was somewhere about right days before bud break. So when we had achieved 4 years of trial data, which was about 17 trials, I'm talking replicated trials here, not actually comparative trials, we actually had some numbers that we could actually collate and get some averages. And the hydrogen cyanamide came out consistently at 59% bud break. With Syncron, we came through consistently at 54% actual bud emergence. And we had the control coming somewhere in the 40s. So we knew that we had something that was significant in terms of performance against the control, and we weren't too far off from where we were hoping to be in comparison to existing chemistry. King flower emergence is a very important criteria when we're looking at the actual sweet spot of yield and size at the end. So when we looked at the performance of hydrogen cyanamide, we got a level or a figure of 1.79 per bud of king flower. When we looked at the performance of Syncron, we got a level or performance of 1.53 king flower per winter bud, which is a slight difference, but we're actually pretty satisfied with that, particularly when we examined what the end result was. So the next criteria that we looked at was the number of secondary or lateral flowers that actually were within the canopy on the replicated trials. And one of the issues, I guess, for us was to look at if we were going to carry a lot of our secondary flowers or doubles and trebles, would that actually affect the yield factor by actually diminishing the size of the king flower? The good thing was when we looked at the numbers, we had less than one, about 0.89 with the Syncron and about 0.95 with the hydrogen cyanamide. So when we looked at how much you can actually carry in a canopy, one of the factors, and that was in our discussion with a number of growers, is how many times you actually go through your orchard and do an actual thinning, and at what stage do you do that, and at what point are you sacrificing the potential size of your king fruit if you're carrying too many laterals and are going for a really high yield but potentially sacrificing the actual size. So we tried to keep the actual number of lateral flowers to a minimum because we wanted to look at the king flower as king, and we wanted to actually try and hit that sweet spot and yield factor where we were gaining the maximum amount per square meter of canopy alongside the maximum actual volume or count size between 110 and 160 grams. So getting to the actual final part of our analysis, not counting what we did later on for storage and bricks and dry matter, but in terms of the yield factor, we really were after looking at the number of fruit per square meter of canopy, because that is what growers and the industry look at as one of their main criteria for making money per square meter. And when we looked at where hydrogen cyanamide sat, it was 69.2 per square meter actual fruit hanging. When we looked at Syncron per square meter, we came to 68.2 per square meter. So in summary, to looking at 4 years of trial work and analyzing all the numbers and looking at the sweet spot and the criteria that you as a grower are particularly interested in, we can say that with Syncron, we have a viable alternative to hydrogen cyanamide.